Running a company is probably one of the toughest things ever. Being a CEO means taking difficult decisions every single day. One wrong decision and you can send your company into bankruptcy. And that's not just a statement. Think of Nokia, the company that's once dominated the phone industry, where it had almost 40% of the phone market with a valuation of $300 billion. It was almost impossible to imagine the future without Nokia. Even iPhones today don't have that kind of market share. However, the CEO of Nokia decided to align itself with Microsoft and not Android, and that was the turning point. In a matter of a few years, the company went from a market leader to almost declaring bankruptcy. Today, it doesn't even control 3% of the market. That's why CEOs on average read 60 books a year or 5 books a month to keep their minds sharp. Of course, no matter how many books you read, mistakes are unavoidable, but you will significantly increase your probability of taking the right decisions. Books have played an important role in my life. A good book often replaces a million advice from people all around you. And if it wasn't for a few books that I have read, my entrepreneurship journey would have been much more difficult. But you don't always need to read a business book, because at the end of the day, building a business and making money is often about your mentality, an outlook of the world, your social skills, and financial education. So here are the 5 books I honestly believe that will definitely make it easier for you to achieve your financial goals, whether it's maximizing your income or building a profitable business. If you're ready, give this video a thumbs up and let's start with the first one. Once Upon Wall Street by Peter Lynch. Peter Lynch is one of the most successful investors in the world. In 13 years, he turned $18 million to $14 billion while he was managing Fidelity Investment, where he averaged a 29.2% annual return, consistently more than double the S&P 500 stock market index and making it the best performing mutual fund in the world. He has co-authored multiple books, but Once Upon Wall Street is probably his best, where he laid down the foundation of successful investing. You don't always have to be the top professional in Wall Street to find a good investment. Sometimes a great deal could be right around the corner. An analyst at Wall Street might not realize it since it's still too small. However, it might grow by 50% year after year. By the time Wall Street will realize it, it will no longer grow that much. So if you're looking for a great investment, you don't have to read JP Morgan reports. Sometimes you just have to look at business around yourself with a fresh perspective. One of my favorite advices from the book is that the best stock to buy is the stock you already own. You've already done the research and found a great company to invest in. If you have extra money, just pour the money into these stocks since you already understand why they will worth much more in the future. The second book on our list is 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. I don't think Peter Thiel needs an introduction. He has become an icon of Silicon Valley since 1990s when he built PayPal and went on to help other startups succeed, such as Facebook. He was the first angel investor in Facebook and helped Zuckerberg all the way to take the company public. The book 0 to 1 is about essential principles of building a successful company. Entrepreneurs who are trying to build the next Microsoft, the next Google, or the next Facebook will most likely fail because each moment happens once. The next Bill Gates will not build an operating system, the next Larry Page or Sergey Brin won't make a search engine, and the next Mark Zuckerberg won't create a social network. If you're copying these guys, you aren't learning from them. Of course, it's easier to copy a model than to make something new. Doing what we already know how to do takes the world from 1 to n, adding more of something familiar. But every time we create something new, we go from 0 to 1. If you're an aspiring entrepreneur, then you should definitely read this book. The next book on our list is The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene. Seduction isn't just about seducing the opposite gender. You can seduce your boss to give you a raise, your employees to work harder, or partners to work with you. When I read this book, I had a completely different imagination of what this book looks like, but after finishing the book, I changed my mind. Seduction is a game of psychology, not beauty, and it's within the grasp of any person to become a master at this game. All that is required is that you look at the world differently, through the eyes of a seducer. The book breaks down different seduction strategies and how to implement them. It divides people into seductive characters, each with its strengths and weaknesses and victims. Once you understand what type of person someone is, it's easy to find his or her weaknesses and end up seducing them. You might think you are not immune to seduction, and if someone tried, you would know. But that's not how it usually happens. When you get seduced, you won't even notice that. Haven't you seen how politicians or business leaders often draw crowds to them to serve their interests without people even realizing that? The fourth book on our list is Atomic Habits by James Clear. Making money, saving money, denying yourself instant pleasures, avoiding impulsive purchases are all habits. At the end of the day, our entire life is about habits. What time you wake up, how you dress, how you talk are all habits. The moment you control your habits, you can be anyone. Changing your life overnight is a great idea that is not practical. So what the book suggests basically is, instead of aiming for that one huge goal, focus on building habits that would make you slightly better every single day. If you get 1% better at something each day, at the end of the year, you will be 365% better at that thing. Just a 1% increase every day yields a 37-time improvement by the end of the year. Finally, the fifth book on our list is The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco. There are essentially three ways to build a fortune. The first one is the slow lane. Get rich on a treadmill. You get a stable job, move slowly through the hierarchy, invest 20% of your income, and by the time you're like 50 or 60, you will be rich if everything goes as planned, which rarely happens. The second way is Sidewalker, is where you become an athlete or a musician or a superstar. First of all, your chances are low, but even if you make it, you will have to spend most of your income to look rich, because that's what your wealth is based on. So a single financial challenge can often take you down. And then there is the fast lane, where you become an entrepreneur. It is a great read. What you have to keep in mind is that when reading this book, they're all useless unless you implement the suggestions and strategies that these books mention. All of these books are about practicality and not just theory, because reading such books is like reading cooking books. It doesn't really matter how many cooking books you read, they're not going to make a difference. What matters at the end of the day is you getting to the kitchen and trying. If you have never cooked anything, then you will most likely cook something awful, even if you have a step-by-step instruction. But if you repeat the same meal a few times, first of all, you won't need the instruction again, and secondly, you will reach to a point where you will be able to play around with ingredients and cook something different that could be better. Of course, it's unfair to compare cooking with building a business, but the point remains the same. Don't just take the theory. Always put it into practice. You will not see the results immediately, but as you practice it more, you will adjust the lessons to your circumstances and build something unique. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.